So, should NICO IAMALEAVA, I always butcher this, NICO IAMALEAVA, Nico, should he have been rated higher than Arch Manning in this last recruiting class? Comment down below. They were both participating in the spring game this past weekend. One for one UT, the other for another UT. What I'm going to show you in just a second is two throws in very similar situations, both of which require a five-star level quarterback. One of them was able to complete it. The other one wasn't. And I promise you, it is going to blow you away. So, what I want to show you right off the jump here is, you've seen their five-star profiles up to this point, and it looks as if, they both are elite recruits. But the truth is, Arch Manning was for a long time the number one overall recruit in all four of the recruiting services. Now, that changed towards the end where Arch was, I think, knocked down just a tad by ESPN and On3. But my longtime position has been there should be no recruit, and I mean not a single one of them, that should ever be consensusly viewed as by far the number one overall player. So I'm glad a few recruiting services came to their senses, because I just don't believe Arch Manning is that. I do think Arch is really good, but after watching all their senior tapes and as much footage as I can get my hands on, Nico still ended up being the number one overall quarterback, and this throw is a good example of that. Now, I'd be the first to tell you that the Tennessee offense does a really good job of generating easy opportunities and easy reads for their quarterbacks with the wide splits. It's part of the reason why a lot of NFL teams don't love Hendon Hooker, and this is honestly a pretty simple read for Nico. If this safety bails out, you are throwing this dig in this window over the middle. But even though it's an easy read and he didn't have to work this side to this side, even though this comeback route also eventually opened itself up, I want you to see when he actually throws this dig, okay? The wide receiver is not yet through the window. I love the anticipation here by a true freshman quarterback, okay? He's deciding to throw it here. Look at that. Look at where the receiver is, right here. That right there is really high-level quarterback play. Now, I would have liked to have seen this ball hit the receiver in the chest so he can run after it, especially in this much space. That obviously will eventually get cleaned up. Let's take a look at one of Arch Manning's early throws. Boom, I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now, and I'm super glad to tell you about our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Go on ahead, get over there, get your best ball drafts done right now. There's major value getting some of these players, including Bijan Robinson. I do believe the hype. You can get him outside the first 10 picks. So, obviously, Texas is not in the SEC yet, but by the time Arch Manning is a starter at Texas, they will be in the SEC, okay? So what I want to first show you is this first throw right here by Arch Manning, and I think most QB evaluators will tell you that this footwork is a little strange. I don't think you ever want your feet to be this close just on a straight, quick drop back such as this one. Super wide base, too. A lot of weight on this front leg, okay? You tell me, quarterback gurus, if this is actually a really good motion. And as you'll see, he does a really good job throwing this comeback route. One thing I really liked about the Tennessee footage is it was more zoomed out. I wish cameras all around gave you a fuller view of the field. As you see, it's very cut off here. But you could see right here that the receiver, when this ball is being thrown, is not out of his break yet. So this is actually some really good anticipation for Arch to throw the football this early. But you'll see right here, this ball is a duck. It is a wobbler, okay? Good accuracy away from the DB, but obviously this ball could have been completed, and giving this receiver some room to make a play after the catch. Instead, he has to dive for it. So the thing about Nico's throws is you saw a lot of zip on it. The balls didn't die down. Arch's throws, you see a lot of that. Here's a throw Nico would probably like to have back. He starts working towards the boundary, and then it's immediately, I think Tennessee actually led the SEC in play action percentage. Either way, so he starts looking left. Let's just start right here. This got open, a very simple comeback route left. So maybe it was an automatic read to work this way, snap your head left, and then work back right. But this was easy open for pitch and catch. Either way, he does decide to work to the field side, and he doesn't like this crosser right here. It is covered. This guy is, covering the middle right here. So he finally does a good job mentally to get this football to the running back. Protection does break down over the middle. What I would say here is, once you work back to this running back, you see this linebacker coming down, just dump it off, right? You don't need to just completely reset your feet. Eventually he does get here, but it's just a lot of wasted motion. But that's honestly really high-level stuff for a true freshman. Work left, then all the way back right, and then to your check down. Now, I'm going to show you Arch's worst miss. So before I show you this really bad miss, this is going to come off as an excuse, but Nico, who I think is a better player, is in a far better system than Arch Manning is. And Sark's system is really good. We saw what he did in 2020 with Alabama, but it's a system that requires really good protection, right? Sark does like to do a lot of five-man protects, and his offensive line, Arch Manning, especially here, the left tackle position, I believe this guy was recruited to play guard. I saw a lot of Arch misses. This time he actually protects really well, but Arch's offensive line was so much worse than Nico's, and part of that is because Tennessee's offense is just a little bit more player proof, right? It's a better system, I think, than Texas's, which requires better players to run it. But the bottom line here is this time Arch gets absolutely perfect protection, and we can get into the mechanics here. Some would say at this point, if it's a clean pocket, this back foot needs to stay planted. I don't know. You quarterback gurus out there, please let me know. The truth is, this is just a major miss, and this one's got to be completed. Okay, protection kind of breaks down here at the end, but overall, this is a good pocket to deliver this throw. It is over the middle, and as you can see, it's another wobbler, and you hit 17 in stride right here. He is off and running. Now we get to the final throws we're going to break down for both of them, and it is amazing how shockingly similar both of these situations actually are. Let's start off with Nico. This was a throw that kind of went viral. As you can see, his protection is completely broken down, and this is a scenario where nothing is open. I mean, absolutely nothing. So this is just getting swallowed up by these DBs. The spacing is all off. He's covered, and he's covered. Protection is decimated, and we have this linebacker here to race down if he were to try to scramble. So Nico's rolling out to his right. He tells the receiver a nice little point to get downfield, and I want you to see this throw. Folks, I see why on 3's comparison was Justin Herbert. That is probably the best throw I saw all spring. And there were some good ones. Once again, it is spring. You can't hit the quarterback. But a lot of you were like me. You probably watched a lot of spring football. You're hungry for this type of stuff. Tell me how many throws you saw that were better than this one. From an 18-year-old true freshman rolling out to his right to a tight end. And this is a laser. 10, 20, 30 yards down the field on the upfield shoulder. no way any DB in the world, Jalen Ramsey in his prime, is not deflecting this ball placement here. He couldn't have handed the football in a better spot than right there. Okay? And I understand you can't hit the quarterback, but the DT wouldn't have caught him in that scenario. So, wow. Now, let's take a look at Arch Manning in a very similar spot. I hope this camera woman's okay. Still kind of wild that you got no reaction out of the OCs, but I guess if you're Tennessee, you can't really celebrate because it's on to the next play. All righty, so we're going to get to a very similar spot here, okay? Looks like this is an RPO. Arch decides to not carry out the fake. Sometimes it just depends on the system you're in and how you are actually coached up. It is 2nd and 2. Look at how far off these corners are playing. I think Arch was expecting this receiver to just stop right here and just move these sticks. Instead, he's just waiting, and as normal, you leave this defensive end unblocked. Arch decides to not throw it, which was a good decision, okay? So now Arch is going to pull a NICO. He's going to roll out to the right. Now, he does have a faster single-digit guy chasing him down, so it does make it a little bit more difficult, but still, it is not really within, any types of immense pressure. So this is a clean situation here for Arch, okay? So this is also a throw that went basically 30 yards, and look at where it ended up. Nowhere close to where NICO's ball ended up. You tell me if this is not the same situation, okay? You'll see right here that this ball is not nearly thrown with the same velocity. Also, it is very zoomed out compared to this being zoomed in, you can see how much Arch is putting into this throw. NICO's ball was a little bit more effortless in terms of his delivery. And one thing that I saw consistently with Arch's balls is you could see it. If you slow it way down, it's a wobbler. So he threw some ducks, okay? And you could see that Arch, who's throwing to a 5-star receiver, the tight end that NICO was throwing to, is not a 5-star like Jonte Cook. Jonte had a step, okay? Doesn't seem like it. The only thing here is he is pinned towards the sideline. You normally want to give your quarterback just a little bit more room. But you'll see right here, it's just a duck. It allows his DB to stick his hand in. This is a very difficult throw, people. It's 30 yards down the field, but you saw one true 5-star quarterback make a throw, and you then see Arch, and you see Jonte Cook says, hey, throw it up. Throw it up to where I can actually have a chance to make the catch. Bam! Looking at you yet again. Please, if you haven't already, subscribed if you love deep SEC breakdowns such as this one, okay? The bottom line is both of these young men are just true freshmen. And I got to be honest, NICO's throw right here was by far the worst of any of the two quarterbacks because you can't turn the football over in the red zone with 5:10 left to go in the game, and all you need is an FG to give your team the lead. This was just an absolute atrocious decision, and NICO had a good throw to Davis yet again on the play before this. Look, these guys aren't finished products, but one is 18 and the other hadn't turned 17 in Arch Manning. So this could look like just super-duper pro NICO. Some of it is, but understand that these two prospects are very young. This is a spring game. We haven't seen how they react getting hit by people bigger and faster than them just yet, especially if you go back and look at some of the Newman games Arch played. He was oftentimes bigger than the offensive lineman on some of both of the teams playing and the defensive linemen. So, yeah, physically these two still We still don't know those things yet. I do think Nico has a little bit more juice as a runner, and I think Arch also has some juice as a runner as well, but neither are truly spectacular in that area. So, people that know me from Power Hour LSU know that I love prospect evaluation. It is a really hard thing to do, okay? And there is a lot of growth for both of these young men as they move forward. But I have receipts to tell you this. Before the start of last year, when I first started looking at these prospects, Nico was my number one guy, period. I really liked him when I first watched him, and here's a video to show that very thing. I see a really good quarterback who could turn into something, and we'll see what a senior tape looks like. And I do see a player that a lot of Division I prospects would want, but he's not better than Dante Moore. I'm sorry. And it's not just this 7-on-7 stuff that you've been seeing. It's just the overall blatant truth. He's not better than him. I would take Rashada, and honestly, I would take the Nico kid committed to Tennessee over anybody. So I shared that old clip, me super ugly, looking still like a walrus, just to let you know I've always been super high on this young man. And look, it might be that I'm overhyping him. Is he the number one quarterback in 2023? I believe he is, and that didn't change, because of this spring game performance, but you do see the high upside. Now, what's interesting on this play right here, I think he could have stepped up into this pocket. I know that this layered spy, if you will, was right there, but this dig did eventually open up. But still, once again, red zone is tough on young quarterbacks. I still think he's the best quarterback in this class. I think after him, it was Dante Moore, Aiden Childs, Malachi Nelson, Arch Manning. I think I might have had Jackson Arnold up there. I think I'd have to go look in my notes app really quickly. But that's how I had it ranked. I thought Vizina was okay, wasn't super on fire about him, but still, let me know in the comments section down below. I think the year before it was Klubnik. It was Klubnik as my number one guy. So we'll see how all this plays out. It's super fun to chat about, and once again, it is just a spring game. But let me know if I'm just confirming, my prior evaluation of Nico. Let me know what you guys truly think of Arch Manning. Is it just that famous last name? I am personally a huge Manning fan, and one day I'll share my Manning story. I think a lot of people have one. They're, really gracious people, at least to me. But still, let me know what you guys think down below. It is Power Hour SEC. Boom! And tonight, we are doing some Detroit-style pizza. Let's go!